All right. I got to admit, that was pretty fun. Welcome, everybody, to yet another stream after one of these races. And this time, the Xfinity Series, in my opinion, delivered. We had, I think, good racing all around, good strategy. It was a decently lengthed race, as well as a pretty good broadcast. All around, as a NASCAR fan, I'm pretty happy with what I saw. Now, are there things that can improve on the drivers' aspects of how they went? Yes. Broadcast stuff a little bit, but not too bad. But I honestly thought that it was a very solid race, and I'm happy I watched. So let's see. Looking in the chat right now. Spencer, you didn't like it? You said could be worse. I mean, I thought it was pretty good, honestly. There was good passing throughout. If you looked for the majority of the race, over 35 cars were on the lead lap. I thought there was solid race. I thought there was solid racing. So yeah. Looking at some of the other chats in here. I see one of those retracted ones, so I'll just I'll leave it at that. Oh, Ryan Sieg's performance. Okay. Yeah, it could have been better. It could have been worse. But could have been better. Rest in peace to Bud Grant, the greatest coach in Minnesota Vikings history. I'll talk a bit about him close the show. But sad day for all Vikings fans across the country. But let's get to the race. I thought it was, like I said, it was a pretty solid race. But all around, there were good storylines. I see Genie's Lamp in the chat asking, how did Creed get third? It was due to the two colleague guys, Kyle Busch, Chandler Smith. They got together, and Kyle Busch had a hell of a save, as Kyle Busch usually does. I don't know, though, did he cut down a tire, or did he just damage the car so much that that's why he popped it off the wall then in the final corner leading to the line? But yeah, I mean, crazy, though, that Creed managed to get it all the way back up to third. Let's go through the finishing order of this race. How about that? So Sammy Smith gets his first win. I've been someone since Watkins Glen last year, when he ran up front with Larson and all them up there, Allmendinger. I think Sammy Smith has a ton of talent. Now, whether Joe Gibbs Racing develops him enough to get a good ride in the future, we'll see. But I personally think Sammy Smith will, as the year goes on, be really, really, really solid, really good. But after that, you got Ryan Truex in second, then Sheldon Creed third, Riley Herbst with a fourth place finish. Hey, we'll give Herbst a lot of shit back and forth about how he performs, but I gotta say, when it comes to his streak of top tens, it is really, really impressive that he's able to get better and better, especially with how we see that Stewart-Haas Racing isn't the juggernaut it used to. By the way, be sure to click the like button. Let's get to 100 likes, probably by the top of the hour. We'll try and get to 100 likes. But click that like button as we get everybody else in here. Reading off the rest of the running order, though. Chandler Smith fell back to fifth. Second straight week for different reasons, both times that he would fall back at the end of the race. John Hunter Nemechek with a sixth place run. Austin Hill seventh. Josh Berry eighth. Kyle Busch fell back to ninth, though seeing how sideways he was, that's probably honestly really, really good and a good save of a day. After that, you got Daniel Hemrick in 10th. Sam Mayer in 11th. Cole Custer 12th. Brett Moffitt 13th, Anthony Alfredo 14th, Kligerman 15th, Ryan Sieg 16th, Weatherman 17th, Retzlaff 18th, 19th is Ellis, then Jeremy Clements, the top 20. After that, you have Josh Williams in 21st, Jeb Burton 22nd, Brandon Jones in the 23rd position in contact with his teammates. We'll talk about him in a bit as well. After that, Connor Mosack in 24th, Kyle Sieg 25th, Gase 26th, Leland Honeyman in 27th, I believe his first start. After that, we got Bailey Curry 28th, Poole 29th, Emmerling 30th, and then 31st, Joe Graff Jr., Garrett Smithley 32nd, Jeffrey Earnhardt 33rd. Kaz Grala, a lap down. Yes, the top 33 all finished on the lead lap. Kaz Grala, 34th, 1 lap down. Blaine Perkins, 8 laps down in 35th. And then the last 3 were out. Justin Allgaier in 36th. Greg Galding, 37th. Dawson Cram, 38th. So we read through that. Let's get it up top on the screen for y'all. The finishing order of the 2023 United Rentals 200. Easy for me to say. This race was 200 laps, 2 hours, 29 minutes, 45 seconds, with 14 lead changes among 8 drivers, 11 cautions. And like I said, right up there, we have the finishing order of the race. Now, I want to see what you guys are saying in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Penguin, for the 5. I'm glad Sammy won. He kind of reminds me of Martin Truex Jr. Kind of quiet, but races really clean and smart. He definitely is going to go far in his career. I think that if he gets the right chances with Gibbs, if Gibbs doesn't just give up on him after 5 minutes like some of the other young drivers in the past, I think that you're right. I think Sammy Smith will have a bright future. I'm really, really buying in on Sammy Smith. It might bite me 2-3 years from now. But I agree. He's very quiet. I wish, and I know the time constraints for the broadcast were why the interview had to be short, but I wish it wasn't just a 1 question, 1 answer interview for him winning. Because literally the only thing, like, there's nothing really too much to grasp onto from his interview of this race. Now, I know that FS1 has contracts. I think it's the World Baseball thing or whatever. Is it Classic? I don't know. I don't follow baseball all that much anymore. But I understand that they have their contracts, but it just sucks. This is why I don't like NASCAR and sports channels or really any channels they do anymore. They always cut that post race down. It's why we're on here. It's why we're talking about the race. It's why we talk about the race on here, because there's just not enough post race stuff out there for NASCAR. But yeah, I wish he would have had more to bite onto with that kind of interview, not just thanks for the fans, stuff like that. MVR owner in the chat, thoughts on Mike Joy's responses to the criticism fans are making towards Fox and the broadcasting. I mean, it's kind of what I said on Wednesday night when we were doing a NASCAR Weekly podcast, which, by the way, is on Eric Estep's channel this Wednesday night. But you know, what's he gonna say? That's really it. I think that Mike Joy is just as frustrated as the rest of us. It's just he can't really speak out because he is employed by Fox. I don't like what NASCAR as an industry a lot of the times will do, where fans are all united and there's an actual reasoning for it, not just fans complaining because we complain, which we do. We complain a lot. But when we actually raise genuine concerns or genuine points about problems, I hate that, like, it seems like on Twitter especially, but online, like, the kind of corporate side of NASCAR, all of them pool together and push against the fans. It's like, when I get it that you want to be defensive, but when everyone is saying it and then all of a sudden everyone is pushing back on it, I think that it really shows just how insecure a lot of people higher up can be towards just fans voicing their opinions. And like Jonathan says, NASCAR fans complain a lot, but I think it's when fans are all talking about the same thing. People both were positive usually about the sport and negative, saying something is up. I think they should actually address it in a good way. But I want to say about the Xfinity broadcast, today at least, there might have been hiccups here or there. I didn't really catch them, or didn't, hit me all that much. I thought today's broadcast and commentary was really good. I think Adam Alexander is the heir apparent. I think he is really solid and he gets better every year. I think Kevin Harvick is a solid driver analyst who brings like a calm, analytical kind of presence that I think he'll plug in really nicely to the Cup booth next year. And hey, you might not like him on the track, but Joey Logano is really good in the booth, and he brings a good amount of energy without being too goofy. He's Joey Logano goofy, not, crazy goofy. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of There's a lot to talk about, but I want to say today was really good. Like a lot of the analysis, analytics, analysis, English. I can speak it. Um, a lot of the analysis today I thought was really, really good. So, we can rip on them when we want. We should. But at the same time, we got to praise when at least in my opinion, when I think that broadcasts are pretty good. Let's look at some of the stuff that happened today in this race. And then we can maybe preview a little bit about the Cup race tomorrow, which we will be streaming after that race tomorrow. But starting out, Kyle Busch started from the back. I was thinking as soon as I heard that, this might be one of those classic races where Kyle Busch starts in the back, charges to the front, and dominates the race once he gets the lead. But it wasn't like that. Not in a Gibbs car anymore. He's in a colleague car, and it shows the difference of equipment. And what I like about this, and it's why I actually didn't pick Kyle Busch this week, though my pick did not do better than Kyle Busch, is that Kyle Busch is getting challenged in the Xfinity Series. Honestly, for the first time since, really, I mean, you could say that the mid-2000s, but really since like Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick were full-time with him when it was like the Busch and Nationwide Series. So it's really interesting because he can't just pull away from the field. I don't think he led all that much, if at all, today. I could pull it up. I just don't want to crash my internet too awful much. My laptop is on fire right now. But starting from the back, that was an interesting storyline to watch. Nothing really happened till about lap 29. The back bumper of Leland Honeyman flew off and caused a real debris caution. It was real debris. And then after that, lap 40, you have caution 2 with Josh Berry spinning off of the nose of Chandler Smith. And you see at that point a strategy call. And this strategy call, in my opinion, changed the race. So many did pit and they flipped the stage. Whereas up front, the guys who ran up front and won the stage, like Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed, a lot of them stayed out, and it ultimately put them back in the pack and mired them back there for a very long time. Allgaier swept the stages today, so we got 2 playoff points out of it today. But I honestly think if that crew plays the right strategy call, they could have 5 playoff points today and maybe even a stage win with a win today. I really think that 7 car was strong enough to be a winner, and they had to use their stuff up to get up there. And it's a shame on his part, or on the team's part, that they really played a bad strategy hand today. It was honestly really surprising. It's been surprising kind of how, I won't say under the radar, but underperforming, at least for the most part, it seems, that JRM has been this year. JRM doesn't seem to be that dominant force it used to be, at least in these first couple races. I know stuff can change. We're going to Atlanta, super speedway, anyone can win. Road course after that. So I could be eating these words in a couple weeks. But so far, it's honestly seemed like younger Gibbs guys, or, maybe like Chandler Smith, the RCR guys, those are the ones who have been the ones more to beat. I mean, Austin Hill, he might be the championship favorite right now, or at least a Final Four favorite. Once you get to Phoenix, you don't know. Will England says all these people crapping on Fox aren't pointing out NBC's faults. These people are hypocrites. I hope you don't think that of me, because I pointed out NBC stuff a lot last year. I got a lot of crap for that, at least when we were doing it on Wednesday nights on the podcast. But let's go to stage 2. Brett Moffitt, he was the first caution in that one. He spun after 3 wide contact with Jeremy Clements, and there was a lot of that comment in the hack at that point. You had a spin with Connor Mosack and Josh Williams sliding in the corner that caused another caution. After that, you had the restart penalty from John Hunter Nemechek, where he went below the line as the leader on the before he hit the start finish line. He managed to rally back from 37th to 6th in the last bit of that race. So that was good run on his part. Let's see what else we got here. And then ending the race, we had some pit strategy, and with that, Allgaier sweeps the stages, gets the win of that second playoff point. And from there, you have the final stage. You have, wait, what? And there are two people the same name, and you mentioned the wrong one. Oh, I must have mentioned the wrong one. My bad. But anyway, final stage starts out. Kyle Busch goes 3 wide for the lead on the restart. Doesn't get it, though. Sammy Smith instead gets the lead from him. And then you have like giant push of cautions for a lot of them, just spins. But it started out with Greg Galding have a right front tire down. Then Sheldon Creed spins with 52 to go. Alfredo spins with 30 to go. And then you have the crash with Justin Allgaier and Kaz Grala, where, in my opinion, Brandon Jones kind of got into him, but I think it was more of a racing deal. They had all worn tires. Like, the last run, really, nobody had fresh tires. I don't know if it was just the teams being too greedy or if NASCAR didn't give them enough sets. But that'll be something to look at, because I think this has become a problem the last couple weeks. Maybe it's a cost-cutting measure. NASCAR keeps cutting costs in every way imaginable. But ending that race, Sammy Smith pulls away his. Ryan Truex put a bit of a charge on him, but Truex really doesn't have anything for the 18 car just because the dirty air as well as the 18 car seem better. I mean, yes, the 19 had a bit of a short run car comparatively, but I thought that Sammy Smith had the better car, was driving like a veteran, and ultimately he earned this win. And all credit to him, man. All credit. But then on the last lap, too, I believe it was Chandler Smith and Kyle Busch. They had that little incident back and forth, got into each other. Kyle Busch has that great spin. But yeah, that is the race. For those asking about picks for the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, which will be on this Wednesday on Eric Estep's channel, me, Eric, and the chat had Allgaier. That didn't go very well. And Danny and Darian had Kyle Busch, who finished 9th. But not many. Not if you're really keeping track, that just means that me and Danny are tied. They didn't gain all that many points, not picking a winner. So is what it is. As for picks for tomorrow, the NASCAR Cup Series race at Phoenix, me and Eric have Ryan Blaney, you guys in the chat, and Danny B Talks have Ross Chastain. Darian went with the Kyle Busch sweep. So we'll see how that goes. 3 drivers to watch out for if you're looking for picks. Tomorrow. Let's see what else you guys got going on in the chat now. Pull that back up. Let's see. Jonathan says, I mean, good broadcasting can elevate a race so much, and bad broadcasting can downgrade it. Yep, that's true. Napa Racing Fan, Atlanta Super Speedway next week. Would have preferred Junior's idea to reconfigure the track back to the old layout before the quad oval. I personally wished it was that one as well. Basically give it the Homestead treatment. Let's see what else we have. Milton asked, did you see about NASCAR's confiscating the hood, was it louvers, from the Hendrick cars? I did see that, and I believe Justin Haley had his confiscated as well. From what Bob Pockrass had tweeted, is that they're not going to be handing out penalties or talking really too much about penalties till Tuesday. But I would imagine if they were trying in any way to change them, modify them in any way, I'd imagine that we're looking at, I don't know, depending on the modification, a points penalty probably, or depending on how they have the rule book written at the moment, a crew chief suspension. It'll be interesting. I think it'll be really interesting to see, and we'll find out. Let me get this really quick. Thank you, mods. I have subscriber mode on, so. But Grover Cleveland in the chat says I would have loved to see the old Atlanta layout. I would love to see it with the next gen car. I really think that the next gen car would race really, really well on the 96, 97 Atlanta layout. Oh, hey, Freeman Motorsports in the chat. I was, if you haven't already, subscribed to him. He does these live streams during the races, and I was watching today, and I love the energy. Absolutely love the energy. So Freeman Motorsports in the chat says Danica was a bit better today, but just not her strong suit. I'd say Danica's strong suit definitely is more like a Mike Tirico role, or playing off somebody like that, like a Hollywood Hotel. Talking about what has happened so far, I think that would be Danica's strong suit. I would think, honestly, I think Mike Joy and Danica Patrick talking back and forth on a Hollywood Hotel at the track, if they brought that back, I think that would be a really cool idea. By the way, everybody, click that like button. Let's get to 100 likes tonight, and then we'll be streaming tomorrow. Like I said, NASCAR Weekly Podcast is on Eric Estep's channel this Wednesday night. And not this Tuesday, but the one after it. Check out IDK Players channel. We're doing the NR Cup Series. I'll be co-commentating. Right now, we still have 19 drivers within one race of the championship, and up front, 4 are really within a couple positions on the track. So, a lot of fun stuff coming up. A lot of fun stuff I'll be doing. A lot of fun stuff that I'll be a part of. And if you're on Twitter or on Instagram, follow the Daily Downforce on their platforms. They will have a lot of content from myself, Eric, as well as the Garage Guys and the Scene Vault podcast. By the way, good job again to the mods. You guys are doing a great job. I can leave it on subscriber mode. It keeps changing it back. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, go to the Daily Downforce for sure. A lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. It'll be a lot of fun coming up. Thanks, Jonathan. Can't wait for the weekly podcast. Always a great show. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about with the Hendrick Motorsports stuff. So I want to see right here. Let's keep talking a little bit more about the Cup race coming up. Who are your picks for tomorrow? Leave me your picks in the chat. I'll let you know. Again, my pick is Ryan Blaney. In the last 5 races, he has 5 top 10s, 3 top 5s, led 321 laps. The only driver better than him was Joey Logano. And honestly, I think even as a championship contender last year, Logano didn't have as good of a car as Ryan Blaney did. I thought Blaney had a better car, but there's no way that a teammate of a guy going for a championship is going to really challenge the championship contender, especially with Ross Chastain being the one charging behind. Spencer's going with the Watermelon Man, so is Napa Racing Fan 927. Robert C4 is going with Briscoe. MVR owner has said Alex Bowman, even though he has 1 top 10 finish and a 23.4 average finish. A lot of different picks on there. By the way, 14 away from 100 likes. Let's get there before we end this baby off tonight. Harvick for his 10th win there. Harvick winning at Phoenix at the last year of his career would be pretty fun to watch. Tabular going for Larson. So a lot of different picks, and I think a lot of people will be strong. Need for Speed 53-53 with Ty Dillon. Dillon going with Michael McDowell. McDowell supremacy, baby. Let's go. McDowell, I believe, is rolling off 7th, I want to say. Freeman, you're going with the 524-99-34. Milton's going with Joey Logano. Jonathan's going with Joey Logano as well. We got Larson from Terrell 007. Let's see. Any others you got in there? Logano for NRF 8. Napa Racing Fan 927. Will Sammy Smith replace Truex or Hamlin at JGR? I say Hamlin in 3 to 4 years. Nemechek replaces Truex next year, 2025. I would say that Nemechek is definitely the number 1 guy that they would bring in. It all depends on if Sammy Smith continues to improve. If he has a Ty Gibbs level improvement and is winning, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus wins a year in the Xfinity Series, I could see it happening. Let's see. Pumu Penguin going with Hamlin. Genie's Lamp would love to see Bell do well. Jonathan rooting for Denny. Groovy Goose going for Hamlin. Sky Talent saying Blake Harris supremacy. Sheepbot 05, not 005, 05 saying watch the 300 cars do not make the playoffs due to a 100-point penalty. I have a feeling that Byron pretty much would already be in unless there's like 20 winners. But I have a feeling that Bowman and Larson will be fine. I don't know why I was blanking on Larson's name. Let's see. Does Corey LaJoie keep his top 20 streak? I'm gonna go saying yes. I as a betting man, I would take the over on 20th. I think he'll be 18th to 20th place car, and you never know, some of the guys up front to take each other out or issues that people have with tires. I don't see a Spire car being overly aggressive on setups like that. So I would think that he has a good shot, in my opinion. Spencer says Ty Gibbs level talent, better not have Ty Gibbs level behavior. I agree. For the most part, at least. Let's see. Napa Racing Fan says Dark Horse Eric Jones qualified great in the first round. Second round, not so much. Got a Ricky Bobby for the win on there. Again, by the way, 13 away. Let's get these likes up, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. It's we do these for as many races as we can. If I'm not at the track or if the race doesn't get postponed, we'll be live after them. Let's see what else we got here. Looking in the chat for more. Bowman is getting struck. The other three will be fine. Then I still think Bowman would be fine, even with a 100-point penalty. He's been so fast so far this year. I don't think that even that kind of penalty would take him down that far. Because let me double check. I have it, my OBS right now. But I believe I have the playoff standings at the moment, and unless it knocked him like 70 to 100 back, I don't see where'd it go. I have so many tabs. I'll find it. I must have accidentally taken it off. Is what it is. But I think Bowman's like 60 or so points up on the cut line, or around there. He's one of, if not the most consistent guy of the first three races. So, yeah. Napa Racing Fan is replacing a Phoenix State to return to Chicagoland possible. I don't think they'll do that just because of the upgrades they made to the track. But I would not be surprised if the new mayor of Chicago comes in and just completely axes the street race after this year. I think that it's too close, honestly, to the race itself for them to do it, just because of the planning has already been done and everything. But it sounds like everybody involved doesn't want it there except NASCAR for the Chicago one. So Chicagoland Speedway is race ready. Like, they could go there next weekend on short notice, and I think they'd be completely ready for they'd be completely ready for a race, honestly. I think in the way I've seen, I mean, they're going to be having racing in September with motocross. By the way, we're single digits away from 100 likes. We'll end this baby off once we get to 100. So be sure to lick that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Watch the podcast on Wednesday, as well as we'll be here after the race tomorrow night as well. Sammy Smith is just the GOAT. I won't go that far yet, but I think the kid has talent. I'll say that. I think he has a lot of talent, and I think he's gonna be a winning driver a lot this year. Let me get a drink real quick of water. Ricardo doesn't like Chicagoland. I don't know about that. May not fit in too well here. Nah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. All good. As long as you're being cool, all good by me. Jimmy will win at the Chicago Street Course. That's an interesting take. Will Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez keep their top 10 streaks going at Phoenix? I think at the very least, Suarez as well. I don't know about Bowman just yet. VR owner, if he doesn't hit 100 likes, he'll stream longer. No, because we hit 100 likes. We're gonna run out pretty quick here. You guys notice I'm wearing all Vikings stuff. Big Vikings fan. But kind of sad news today. We'll kind of end off on this. Sad, but not in the but we'll end off still on a kind of good note. Longtime Vikings coach Bud Grant had passed away today. They announced. I think he was 98 years old, 98 or 95. He was up there. I think he was 95 actually. Greatest coach in the history of the Vikings, and it sucks that he never got a ring. But I was looking at some stuff this morning about Bud Grant, and I didn't realize just how much of an impact he had on football and sports in general. After serving in the Navy, he played both in the NBA and the NFL. He played 1 year for the Eagles, and then back then, what they did is you played the year, and then they gave you the next contract they wanted, as in teams wanted. And he said no and went off and was the first NFL free agent. Coached in the Canadian Football League, won a ton of championships there. Then went to the Minnesota Vikings and coached one of the greatest eras for any team ever. And had the Purple People Eaters. But was one of the greatest coaches ever. And as a Viking fan, you grow up hearing about him. But I would say any fan growing up should have heard about him, just knowing how great of a coach he was and a legend. And one of the cool things is that back when they were an outdoor team, which I think they should return to being, he would have them with no coats, with no heaters, nothing, because he wanted his team to be ready for the cold. And they had one of the greatest home field advantages in NFL history. So it's you really should, if you get a chance tonight, if you have time, look at some old stuff. There's videos on YouTube about Bud Grant and his legacy, and just how big and powerful of a coach he was, without being like a screaming rah-rah coach kind of thing. But definitely look into what his history for both sports and football was. It wasn't just a Vikings thing. And then the last one is 2015, when they had a playoff game in Minnesota. And at 88 years old, I think it was like -8 or 9 out with like a wind chill of -30. And he came out in a polo and just normal pants and just sat out there for the national anthem, the coin flip, everything like that. The dude was in every way a certified badass. So again, look into it tonight. It's awesome. NASCAR comparisons for 5. Thank you. Do you think Harvick will get his 10th Phoenix win tomorrow? No, I don't think so personally. But if he does, it'd be pretty damn cool. But yeah, I think that'll cover it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow night after the Cup race. So until then, have a good one. And as for, like I ended out, Bud Grant, rest in peace. Skull Vikings. Later, guys.